Welcome to Epiphanies, the podcast, where we explore the breakthrough moments that change everything. I'm Anna Gergen, launch coach and founder of Epiphanies Coaching. And this season, I'm sitting down with people from all walks of life to explore the awakenings, hard lessons, and unexpected epiphanies that shaped who they became. My hope is that somewhere in their story, you'll see yourself differently and have an epiphany of your own. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to Epiphanies, the podcast. Today, we have Kristin Gutierrez. Welcome, Kristin.
Oh, thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Yes, we're going to have such a good conversation. So, the thing that we're talking about today really is that sometimes the biggest breakthroughs don't start because of an opportunity, they start because of an ending.
Ooh.
Right. So, Kristin has spent more than 20 years building an incredible career in corporate sales and leadership before one unexpected moment changed everything. That moment could have been the end of her story, but instead it became the beginning. Today, she's a best-selling author, sales strategist, entrepreneur, and the creator of a philosophy that's inspired thousands of people, myself included, to stop waiting until they're ready and start building the life that they want. Her message is simple and really easy to remember and goes through my mind all the time, and it's say yes and figure it out. So please help me welcome virtually Kristin Gutierrez.
Yay. Well, honestly, like working with you is a dream come true, but also just having you as a friend and having you in my orbit. And thank you. Excited to inspire your audience today.
Yes, I know it's going to be such an inspirational conversation because of your story and all of the things that you have to share with the world. So take us back to that moment that I just alluded to and tell us what happened in April of 23.
Yeah, it was 10 a.m. I logged into my regular one-to-one with my then boss of an $80 million company. My boss happened to be the CEO, and we were joined by our SVP of HR.
Uh, uh.
Say, And like you knew, I remember texting my then husband being like, I think I'm being let go. And literally within 10 minutes, when the corporate goodbye was over and we hung up the Zoom call, and all I remember saying was, what am I supposed to do now?
Mhm.
Was I subconsciously sought comfort in action. And that's the crux of all of it. That's how Say Yes and Figure It Out came to be. My first book, my second book, my soon to be third book, and everything in between, like a wildly successful 3 years with hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue and keeping a roof over my head and my children's head as a single mom now. And it really is like, I'll end with this, like, as humans, we seek comfort, and
Mhm.
comfort can be very much taking a nap on the couch. It could have been going on a walk, or my favorite thing to do, binge eating a box of Oreos. For other people, it might be brunch, Netflix and chill, whatever it is. But on that day, I literally sought comfort in action. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know who I was going to work for, what I was going to sell. And I just started taking lots of imperfect steps. And by 2 p.m. that day, Anna, I won my first consulting client.
Insane. That's insane.
I know.
That's insane.
And then, yeah, here I am now, 3.5 years later. I've got a year-long mastermind. We can talk about that if you want. I'm a realtor in Long Beach. I'm 90 days into building my business, boots on the ground, from the ground up. And anyway, it's just so fun to be able to apply the strategy and philosophy of
Mhm.
everything I've learned, and from Say Yes and Figure It Out to basically anything in life.
Yeah, that's amazing. One of the things I think is so unique about your story and interesting is that you didn't give yourself any time to feel sorry for yourself or wallow. I'm sure there was a lot of emotions happening that day, though. Like, did you experience that feeling of like rejection or failure or I can't believe this happened to me?
Yeah, I'm glad you pause on that because I think I don't gloss over it, especially intentionally. I
Mhm.
just focus on the opposite, which was the positive, but like it does not feel good
Mhm.
to lose unexpectedly your six-figure corporate job when you loved the company you worked for. You
Mm.
shout about it through the rooftops. I was a VP, so I had, I think, 6 to 8 people reporting to me at the time. We loved each other. We bonded. We had met in person. We had group chats. We had daily check-ins. Like I know in that moment of time when me and other people on my team got let go, and like so many people across the company got let go that day. Like I know we were like, what the heck?
Mhm.
What, like blindsided, like fear, anxiety, anxiousness, I'm not good enough.
Mhm.
And for us, the financial crisis that me losing my job literally created in 3.5 years, I'm not yet fully recovered from. Like, I'll say if I'm trauma bonding with somebody like who's in a similar situation, like I wouldn't wish this financial crisis on anyone, on my worst enemy, like on anyone. And so
Mhm.
all of those feelings came up. But I always say you can focus on the negative or you can look for the silver lining.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
think.
just like a half glass full type of girl. And then
Mhm.
I teach my clients in the coaching world like how to do the same, right? I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, like be realistic about life, be life in, but how do we really like it's a grind. If you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, small business owner, if you work in a company, if you're a leader, if you're chasing all the red tape, like whatever you're doing, if you're building something alone or within a team, you really need like stick to itiveness.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
We talk a lot about identity at Epiphanies, and I know that's the name of your year-long mastermind because I'm in it.
mhm.
So, that's a question that I have for you because that's a lot of what people struggle with when they go through those types of like life-altering things. I know for me, when it's so funny, it's April 23 for both of us. When I left my corporate job, it was an identity issue of who am I without this job and what do I even do? You moved so quickly into I am an entrepreneur and I've got a client by 2 p.m. Were there any identity struggles through that of like I am a VP and that just got taken from me and now who am I and what do I do?
It's yes, and I had already invested in coaching
Hmm.
about 6 months before I lost my job. I spent like $8,000 on a mentorship I did nothing with until January of 2023. Started going to some of the meetings, and then I spent another seven, eight, $9,000 on accelerated workshop with them. So another to learn how to write a best-selling book in 3 months. And so the craziest thing that happened for me was I had already asked my CEO, can you make me our chief sales officer? Because they had opened up a job. And he said, you're not ready. So
Hmm.
that was a huge identity hit to me in February or January. Because I was like, what do you mean I'm not ready? Like I'm demonstrating this. I'm showing that. And so I just decided I would write a book and like I'll show him, and not only will I show him, but I'll prove to the rest of my industry that I had spent 20 years in that I am capable of a role such as this. And so the crazier identity challenge that I was up against the day I lost my job was now I was a month and a half into writing my book. So my book, I started writing it March 1st of that year. I released it May 31st. Who has the guts, I would say, to release a book called Be a Better Sales Leader when you got fired as a sales leader?
You
That's
do.
like
You do.
wild to me.
That's so good.
So I would say things like things don't happen to you, they happened for you, but it was
True.
because I had coaching already and I believed in abundance. I knew I was meant for more. So do you, I know you, but like really
Mhm.
to put this back on you and also people listening, like I'm putting it in quotes, like what's that goal that you have that's like that dream on your heart? For me, it was $500,000 months. Now,
Mm-hmm.
to this day, still, I'm not there yet. Shoot for the moon, land among the stars. But I was trying to make that work. There was no way corporate was going to pay me that much money.
Nope.
But like my boss, before he had gotten let go, he was so team Kristin, so supportive. So, like, do you have an advocate where you are right now? Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
internally, whatever that is. And are you investing in yourself? So I had both. I had a boss internally who believed in me, and I had external counsel, quote unquote, in these mastermind mentorship communities. Those two things set me up dramatically for success as we all iterate and pivot through life, because it isn't, oh, this thing happened to me, woe is me. It's like, okay, thing is happening for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't help but look at it with like rosy colored glasses because
Yeah.
I'm just not a negative person.
I know. But that's beautiful, and look how far it's gotten you, right? And like it propels you through those situations and enables us to not have a victim mindset. And that's probably why by 2 p.m. you had a client and you didn't wallow for weeks or months or even longer like some people would. So I think that that's super beautiful. So it's really interesting that you say that too, because all those things were aligned for you. Like it's like everything God was setting up the pieces, and you had hired the coach and you had started the book so that when the big blow came, you knew like, okay, well, I've got this backup plan. Didn't you also had just wired somebody a whole lot of money for mentorship too? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So, oh, I love that you asked that because like
mhm.
you know that, right? Like the 7, 8,000, and then another 7, 8, 9,000, and then they had learned a strategy that I now know on how to gather a bunch of people together virtually and like add a bunch of value, teach them a bunch of things, and then make them an offer.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because by then I had a bunch of friends in this community and we're all in this masterclass together. It's a 5 day challenge. We didn't quote unquote know what was happening, but I could sense something was about to happen in terms of they're going to present us with something or like ask us to join something. And we're all texting in the background. All of my friends are like, once the offer came, join our year, like I'm not going to pretend to quote what it was because I don't even remember, but it was a $30,000 investment is what it was
Yes.
the price was. And
Yep.
everyone's like, are you going to join, are you going to join, are you going to join? And I remember being like, F it, I'm in. And I was one of the first people in that Zoom chat to be like, I'm in. And you start to see all my friends say, I'm in. And over the course of a couple days, my mentors made $1 million in sales transacted from that $30,000 offer. And they were in Texas. They had came to the Southern California area, and here I am. I've spent a lot of money with them. And I was
Mhm.
like, "Hey, do you want to get dinner?" And they often say no to a lot of people, and I respect that, right? And they said, "Yeah, we'll
Mhm.
have dinner with you, Kristin." And so that was ironically, the timing of all of this is wild. Like I'm always like, you can check the receipts. So I wired them $30,000 or the balance of that $30,000 on that Friday before Monday, April 17th. And we went to dinner, right? And then my brother and sister-in-law from Florida came to visit, sitting on my porch. And we were like, oh, we just bought my grandparents' home in Indiana. And we're doing this huge gut renovation on it. And like, oh, I'm in this mastermind now. And they're like, dang, y'all are risky. And I was like, high risk, high reward. We have a picture, me and my two kids, my then husband, my brother and his wife, on my lawn from that Sunday. Monday morning rolls around, 10 a.m.
Oh my gosh, like it's like everything was just lined up exactly like it should have been, even if it felt not that way at the time, right? But if you hadn't been obedient to the call and like gone for those things and set yourself up, you wouldn't have had the quick turnaround and the momentum that you had at the
Yeah.
time. So I also wanted to just highlight the need for coaches and mentors. I've never talked about that before really, but it is something I am so passionate about myself. I have multiple coaches, mentors, mastermind programs, things that I plug myself into and get involved with, and it's truly game changing. We need each other.
We do. I learned it in corporate on accident. When I started in the language translation industry, I was like an inside sales experiment. And so I would like partner with the six BDM business development managers, and a couple of them took me under their wing. And that was when I really realized I'm 23 years old at the time. That's when I really realized, oh, I'm being mentored. And then
Mhm.
as we climbed as I kind of put my time in the industry, became my own sales rep, some of them became friends. Then the industry I was in was very incestuous. So was somewhere for 6 years, and I went somewhere for 3 years. And then, as the story goes, and you realize, oh, I'm still staying in touch with this person over here, even though we don't work at the same company and we're competitors in the industry, because they helped me and I'm appreciative. Then I
Mhm.
took a stint as a contract worker, working at NetApp, so a big tech giant in Silicon Valley. And I had this killer VP boss, and she would talk about the power of an executive sponsor and really what that was. And
Mhm.
she would be mentoring tons of people. She had her own executive sponsor. So, one of the pillars in Be a Better Sales Leader, it's three pillars. One of them is the importance of having mentors inside and outside of your company. I didn't report to my CEO because of this, but I first asked my CEO to mentor me. And I had to email him not once, Anna, not twice, three times in order for him to like respond to my email. And he was
Oh my gosh, that is gutsy.
right.
Yes.
And we're at an $80 million company. I'm always like, that's not small. And so we would meet for 1 hour every month where he
Oh,
would,
so he eventually said
oh
yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Then he became my boss, right? But uh I was like, oh shoot. It was fun. It was great. It was so wild. I really, in that moment of time, I loved being mentored by him and reporting to
Yeah.
him. But you're, to your point, inside mentor, if you work in corporate, inside mentorship, executive sponsors, something different, but like same, and external. I
Hmm.
wouldn't have succeeded. I kid you not. The client I won at 2 p.m. that day, she had already asked me, she had been asking me to like help her business. I'm like, oh. And I was like, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free because I didn't have the knowledge of how to price. I didn't know what to give her. The mentorship I paid $30,000 for, that's who taught me how to stack my offer and price the right way. So
Hmm.
when I lost my job, she was a low hanging fruit. I went to her. She and her husband, her COO at the time, she was CEOs, the CEO and whatever, the two, they got on the call with me, and I pitched them like an insane, like, I don't like multiple thousands of dollars a month to
Hmm.
consult their business.
Yeah.
And they were like, yes,
Ah,
like, it's already a yeah, like it is like, yes, right.
I needed that. Like, yeah.
Because I had the mentorship, because I had the coach, because I knew I'm not going to have all the answers myself. That like, in order to get ahead, I needed help, and I needed to like humble myself to ask for help.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good, that in and of itself. Humble yourself and ask for help. I too, I started as a sales associate in the company that I was in, and I rose up to director of in-store experience and innovation over multiple teams in that organization. And I as well, it wasn't from my own merit as, yes, I won a lot of awards, okay? But that's not the main reason that happened to me, and that growth and that promotion from within is because I was constantly seeking
Mhm.
coaching, mentorship, constantly building relationships completely organically and authentically, not in an icky, I need you and I can get something from you way, but in a, I would love to learn from you and can I please like get some of your wisdom and, positioning it in that way where
Mm.
you, like you said, humbly ask for help and not in a, yeah, again, not in a greedy
Yeah,
way.
I'm not taking from you. Like,
Correct.
you have something I could learn. That was the cool thing about when my CEO was mentoring me. It was like, I didn't show up with an agenda per se, and I would have if he wanted me to. But that's the thing. It was really his meeting. This
Hmm.
needed to be worth his time. So
Yeah.
it wasn't me, 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 me. It was like, what's on your mind today that would be helpful for me to hear? And before we met, when he agreed to do it, he also told me, like, there is an ebb and a flow. So, right, like, what do I need to learn from you, and what can I expect from him as my mentor? And the
Hmm.
same is true if you're paying for the coaching, because a lot of times you don't have access to a mentor like that. You don't have access to an executive sponsor. And so you do need to invest in the coaching of somebody
Hmm.
who's like maybe one step ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a game changer. And something else that we are super aligned on and connected with is our generosity. Like when I came to LFG Live in March, which feels like, oh my gosh, it feels like so long ago. Um, I know I kept telling you like, oh my gosh, you are over delivering. Like this is, I can't believe all of this is included in this event. Oh my gosh, wait, you're not charging for that? Wait, hold on, you're including that? Hold on. That's not an upsell? Like you're just throwing it in? That's amazing. And that was a very telling among a lot of other things that you've done and a lot of other things that you've offered was very telling in your character and your heart that you truly give more than you take and you give and you're generous without an expectation.
Mm.
So talk to me a little bit about that as far as like, is that part of your business, Pat? Like I know that you've got some systems around offers that are opening offers to people because I've taken part in some of this training too. How much is the generosity aligning with your systems and the way that you coach and teach people to be successful?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing behind the thing in what you're saying too is like, I mean, truly as humans, whether you're religious or not, like, or believe in the universe, or like, we have to give more than we take. Like, we hear that as kids, but do we practice it as adults? Despite being in a financial crutch still to this day, the other day at the grocery store, I bought somebody groceries behind me. And I've never
Yes.
done that. So I didn't realize, like, oh, I actually have to stay there and like like you can't really I didn't have cash, so it wasn't like I was just handing her the cashier $200
Yeah.
for the next two or three people's groceries. And it was so sweet. I felt so fulfilled in doing
Yes.
that. And that's the word that I always quote unquote heard you would feel when you were doing something that you knew you were meant to do as a profession, as a vocation, as a generosity, or as a gesture. But until I lost my job and I was truly using my gifts, which are sales, to consult. So I'm making money, I'm receiving money for my gifts, but it's so meaningful.
Hmm.
I will walk outside with my hands up in the air and just close my eyes and like have my face to the sun and say thank you. Like,
Yes.
thank you, Lord. Thank you, universe. Thank you for allowing me to do this. Because there's constantly naysayers in our lives of people who mean well, right? Who's like, oh, don't you want to get another corporate job? Or like, oh, what about a bartending job? Or like, oh, what about this? Or what about that? And like, it's scary enough to doubt yourself, but when you can come from a place of giving, 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 it's kind of like, no, I wouldn't recommend in this day and age to like give it all away. You do need to make some money, but the giving comes with an exchange of money. And so it's like the more I can over deliver is what you were asking, the more I can give without
Hmm.
expecting in return. I just truly feel that just means I'm in the right place.
Hmm.
I mean, especially true for like, what's it, tithing? Like people who believe in like
Oh, yeah.
putting
Mm.
money toward the church, maybe even when you don't have the money, or saving money and giving it somewhere. So, it's a little bit of that, but it's like instead of giving it to some generic organization, I'm giving it to
Uh-huh.
the people who have already invested in me.
I love that you just brought that up. The principle behind it is really giving first. So whatever you have, you give first, and then the rest is for you, right? So it just keeps that generosity principle front of mind. For me, the way I like to think of it is my entire bank account belongs to God. Like every dollar that I have, I receive and I give is all just transactional that is from his bank account. But the
Mhm.
fact that it's from his bank account and he loves me a lot and cares about me and provides for me, like then I never have to worry, right? I don't ever have to worry. So I love to reframe it and reposition it to 100% is for tithing, if you call it that, or giving or charity. And then I keep what I need to keep for the
Yeah.
things that I need, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and it just removes the blocks so that if you have those moments like you had at the grocery store where there's somebody behind you and you feel that tug and you're like, I kind of just really want to bless them today. It takes the logic out of, well, I need to look at my finances and have
Right.
I given my 10% this month already? Like, no, just buy the person's groceries behind you because you feel led to. And I guarantee you're going to be blessed because of it. Even if in not a financial return, then definitely, like you said, in that fulfillment and that feeling of just like, yes, I just blessed somebody and just completely made their whole day, week, month by an act that I did. So,
Well, and so the same thing is true in business, just to tie it back though, too. Like
yeah.
one way I give, you can give information, you can over deliver, you can provide bonuses, but like the another way to do it, and this is maybe even what you were alluding to at the beginning of your question, was like I created this concept of special offers and
Hmm.
like a special offer season. And I have a whole framework of getting your offer into momentum, like whatever it is, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, for example, starting my before I realized I was starting my real estate journey about 2 months prior, my kid's school had an charity auction, and I signed up to give. I said, I think it was like 1% commission. I'll take 1% commission to list your house or something. It was like wild because commissions are 5 to 6%. So maybe I
Wow.
said 2%, but like I was like, I'll do this because I knew getting my offer, quote unquote, into momentum meant that that would be the first client. I wasn't even really pursuing real estate, which is wild, but that was the universe aligning
Again.
itself,
Hmm.
and so that's a practical, real, current example. But you've watched me give people special offers. You've watched me over deliver with my time with one-to-ones. You've watched me in live events give resources that nobody expected. People have watched me in virtual events like give worksheets or tons of information that somebody would have paid lots of money to learn. So I think there's always a way to give, and
Yeah.
if we follow your principle, it will always come back.
Yes. Amen. But then you'll still make sure you stop me if I'm about to give away my whole system on a call.
I mean, that might have happened recently.
There is a boundary that needs to happen. You don't give
100%. I was
everything.
like, whoa, wait, you're telling us all the things.
And then you do this, and then you do this. So boundaries are also important and good, right?
Yeah,
But that
100%.
have overarching mentality of just give to give. Just give to give. I love. You said something else beautiful that I want to bring back, and we have to talk about this. You said success feels better when my nervous system gets to come with me.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, when my nervous system gets to come with me, that's so good.
Hmm.
So tell me more about what that means to you and how that's playing out in your life now that you have rebuilt and developed this whole entrepreneur lifestyle.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I think this would be true. I didn't realize that I was so burnt out from corporate and
Yep.
just from my job that I loved.
Yeah.
And I was the woman who, even when Blackberries existed, I would like take my Blackberry on vacation with me, or I would take I would stay tethered to my work when I was on a 2 day or 12-day vacation because I felt less behind when I came back. And when I just gave this great analogy the other day, when I lost my job, I finally put boundaries up. But for me, those boundaries, it was wild working on the West Coast for a global organization for 20 years, basically. I didn't always choose the meeting time. So I was sometimes meeting at 6 or 7 a.m. despite having young children at home. Sometimes we were working at 6 or 8 p.m. with Asia, just depending on the time zones. And so I was like, okay, no more of that. I will work 8 to 5 as an entrepreneur, but not only that, I'm going to block my calendar from 8 to 9, 12 to 1, and 4 to 5 because I could quote unquote never do that in corporate. So
Mm-hmm.
my handcuffs were off, but I stayed shackled to my own desk by my own will
Yep.
because it's like it was all I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So then I invested in more, someone say more,
More.
more mentorship. And this is how I met you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was another substantial $25,000 program of money I didn't have, but I knew
Mm-hmm.
I needed to be in the orbit of this community and learn these strategies. And it significantly changed my life. That mentorship dramatically changed my life in the best ways possible. I met
Yes.
so many lifelong friends. I got to coach for my mentor for over like I think almost a year. Um, I literally just voice texting a friend today. I'm like, oh my gosh, do you remember this thing? And that thing was over a year ago. And he's like, yeah, like it was yesterday. So again, I just cannot overemphasize like these communities that people build. They're just filled with such
So critical.
human, genuine connections. Uh,
Yeah. So
but
critical.
yeah,
So
go
you
ahead.
had hit a point of burnout and you didn't even realize it. Let's touch on that quickly because
Yeah.
that's another common topic that we talk about. And yes, to answer your question, I was severely burnout and in complete denial about it up until the very end. Um,
Yeah. My
so,
hair was falling out. I mean, I was also like, my kids are still only 5.5 and 7. I mean, 8 now, but like they're pretty old now. I feel like I had massive postpartum depression that never went away. I was severely overweight. My hair was falling out and my eye was twitching. Like I was not in a good place.
yep.
My heels were cracking on my feet. Like it was bad. So
Hmm.
a lot of those things did go away despite us barely surviving because of the financial crisis we were in. It's taken a lot of grit to get there, but I only realized within the last 6 months that holy cow, I'm still burnt out. It just looked something
Mm.
different. Right, because the financial crisis isn't officially over yet, because I've had to continuously iterate and innovate and pivot what I'm doing, how I'm showing up. Like I'm not like shoving around peg in a square hole. It's like consulting over here, book writing over there, maybe try a TEDx, do a bunch of speaking, go to one-on-one coaching, sell this thing, sell that offer, do a masterclass over here. Like when you're
Mhm.
in such massive imperfect action and you're trying to snowball your momentum to literally keep the lights on in your house or your trailer house, like your line in the sand, which is something we talk about in identity, your line in the sand, my line in the sand was so deep that there was no other option. I needed to make it work, creating more burnout that didn't look like traditional burnout.
Mm. How did it look different?
I was like preaching, live in your imagination, go on imagination walks. But here I am working, working, working until the cows
Mhm.
came home, trying to get ahead.
Mhm.
Actually, I remember when I created identity, I I I never, and I think this happens for you. People say God speaks to you. For me,
Mhm.
it was like a dream. It was at
Yeah.
2 a.m. and I woke up and I was smart enough to write it on my notes on my phone. I was like, oh my gosh, this is how I stack my offer. This is how I scale. And so this offer with my year-long mentorship, I was able to remove everything else off my plate and stop trying to like create something new every single time. And I was finally able to settle. That was the start of it. But then because the financial situations are still like ongoing, that was kind of why I decided to go into real estate also. Keep the mentorship alive and thriving and figure out ways to like A, obviously over deliver to my clients, and B, bring more clients in. And at the same time, not be so stubborn or stuck,
Mhm.
willing to try yet again something else. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. So there's a combination of like, are you burnt out as a human? And what can you do? You might be the person at a corporate job and you might need to block 12 to 1 on your calendar and make your company honor your calendar,
Mhm.
because that's
Boundaries.
not possible always.
Right. Right.
You might be there, or you might be a solopreneur still, quote unquote, accidentally shackled to your desk. So it just depends on where somebody is in their burnout stage and like
Mhm.
what they can do to get themselves out, because
Yeah.
not fun.
It's not. It's not. You when you talked about being on vacation chained to your BlackBerry, I was like, that's not the Kristen I know at all. The Kristen I know has like strong boundaries for your time and your weekends and things like that. What belief system had to change
Mm.
in you to go from the one that needed to have your BlackBerry on the beach to giving yourself in this last, it sounds like maybe even in this last 6 months you've grown in this, to giving yourself this space and permission.
Yeah, I think that's where the nervous system comment comes in, because the more I am a student of life, the more I continuously pour into myself and try to make myself a better mom, or a better, set myself up to be a better future partner to somebody, or, actually hit my $1 million cash collected plus goal and buy the house I want and all the goals. It's like I've never detached from my goals, but I know that, like, I have to be willing to, like, it isn't push, 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 push. It isn't work harder, work harder, work harder. It really is like allowing yourself to pause and lean back and
Mhm.
receive,
Oh,
and know that like the fruits of your labor will continue to create opportunities for you. And like patience is
mhm.
probably one of the biggest virtues. And that's how your nervous system can start to relax, if you actually believe that it's all coming in its own timing.
Oh my gosh. I hope every single entrepreneur listening listens to that, rewinds it, listens to it again, and a couple more times because truer words have never been spoken. There's a lot of patience and learning to receive and learning to just sit back and disconnect from the outcome that comes with this entrepreneurship journey, way more than I had ever realized. I've been seeing a lot of posts lately about entrepreneurship being like better than therapy in regards of like revealing all of your soft spots and your traumas and everything else. I'm like, yes, that
Yeah.
is true. That is true. But having that experience is definitely still one that I would highly recommend because the freedom and the liberty that comes with it is also irreplaceable.
Oh, just fills my cup so much. It like I like I love what I get to do, but the boundaries, I'm in a few different masterminds. I've got a bunch of people. I've got people throwing things on my calendar, and I've had to say no to a lot of things I typically was saying yes to, because my mission in the moment is keep my mastermind alive and thriving
Hmm.
while building this real estate business, which is a different modality than building an online business. Like selling language translation services was online, because we were calling on stakeholders and decision makers all over the US, if not all over the world, literally. And it was done through DMs and cold calls, believe it or not, and emails. Selling real estate is a boots on the ground activity. I mean, it's door knocking literally and handing out flyers, which pulls me away from a computer that I've been shackled to or tethered to for 20 plus years. Sometimes it's actually weird for me to turn my computer on these days and look at it. But it was a delicate, strategic, well-timed thing. First, when I went into real estate, everyone's kind of like, what are you doing? I'm like, keeping the lights on, bro. But like I had to make sure my mastermind was already stacked appropriately with, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, over delivering without requiring my time.
Hmm.
And then at the same time, what else is on my calendar that was noise? And then how do I use all the time strategies that you and I love, like time blocking? When
Hmm.
I record my podcast, it's normally only on Mondays. And so
Hmm.
putting boundaries around all these things, so that the majority of my, at least mornings, is
Hmm.
outside knocking on doors. And now I'm bringing my 5-year-old along, and it's so cute. Oh my God. It's a whole conversation for a different day, but you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
Yes.
stacking. It's like reverse engineering. How do I make this entrepreneur opportunity happen? How do I make it happen? And when I see a lot of people, they're working and it's not going any, like they're doing work that doesn't really move the needle in their business, or they're not showing up vulnerably and authentically online. And that
Mm,
was something I learned to do in corporate. In fact, I sold it as a workshop after corporate. It was like a passion project within your role. Like, how do you make the stuff you post on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever actually meaningful and not salesy or sleazy? Because that's the same way you apply DMs, not salesy, not sleazy. That's the way you apply door knocking. You can't be salesy or sleazy.
yeah.
How do you just show up and share your journey and then put a bunch of boundaries around it and then recognize that we're all human? So, burnout's going to happen, but we're way beyond the burnout topic right now. But I feel like to
Good.
me, it's
It's
kind
so
of
good.
like
Yeah.
it's ever present.
Yeah. Yeah, and keeping those boundaries strong. I would have never in a million years thought that I would have the boundaries on my time blocking these days that I do, but there's so much liberty in it. And you realize you can get just as much done, and you're being protective of your calendar, and people don't all get access to you whenever they want. And actually, that ends up making you way more available for the people that you should be available for, and all those things. So, oh my gosh. So we have a little, maybe one or two more questions I need to know because I know you're a fast action taker, hence the premise of say yes and figure it out, right? That's something else that we have in common. Just take action. Was there a moment, did you have an epiphany where you realized that that was your thing, that that was something that was your secret sauce that you did, or did that just gradually talk to me about that?
Oh my God. I'm so curious if you actually know the answer to this or not, but like,
Mm-mm.
um, going back to needing mentorship and showing up in the community as yourself without selling anybody anything.
Yeah.
My first, this big, $30,000 mastermind I was in, I would show up. And obviously now I had lost my job. So I would just show up in their Facebook group and in their calls a couple times a week. And I would just show up and share and ask questions. Like literally, I would just show up and share. Like it's so simple. And because of that, I got nicknamed the LFG Queen. Like, and again, I was in this mastermind. I mean, I was in a different version of the mastermind, the lower ticket version for $8,000, right? For 6 months doing nothing with it. And then when I really invested a lot of money, there's an argument for like people who pay attention. When I
Yep.
really felt pained by the money, I really started to show up and I started becoming known, like I said, as the LFG queen. Um, and then it was my mentor, and she knows it was my mentor. So along that lines, I had taken another job and like it was a ton of money, but it wasn't enough. And like, the whole idea was, okay, I'll write my second book, which was Say Yes and Figure It Out. I'll work on my TEDx and I'll just kill it at this job. Well, luckily for me, the job lasted 4 months. But because I was showing up and sharing, my mentor said, Kristin, you need to go into a black hole. Maybe it's an hour or a day, but like don't take longer than a week, and figure out what it is that you do to have become known as the LFG queen. That's
Hmm.
the thing people want to buy from you. And what's crazy is I decided right then and there, I had a screen say like the framework, the 4-step framework, decide, take a step, lean in and celebrate. It's always been that. It was just worded slightly different. And
Uh-huh.
then the framework itself at first wasn't selling. So that's another beautiful example of like, oh my God, I showed up and I shared, and my mentor gave me that idea. And I know that one of your mentors gave you a killer, like, right? Helped you
Yeah.
see between the lines.
Yeah.
That's it. She's calling out in me something that's so obvious I couldn't see.
Yes.
So there's that. But
Yeah.
then this isn't, I'll end here so you can add in. I, it wasn't enough, because like the first version of something often isn't the best, right, perfect version. So I almost gave up on Say Yes and Figure It Out 100 times
Yeah.
before it became the book and the movement that it is today.
Oh, mic drop. Mic drop. And in hindsight, it all makes sense now,
Now it
right?
all makes sense.
But
Yeah.
in the meantime, between time, in that messy middle, whoo,
Nope, I could
it's
not sell it
painful.
for my life. I ran masterclass after masterclass after masterclass after masterclass trying to sell, which wasn't called Say Yes and Figure It Out. It doesn't matter if it would have been called that. It wasn't selling the way. I wasn't asking my audience exactly what they needed. I was making a bunch of assumptions. I was making all the mistakes that I see my people call to my voice make. And it
Hmm.
just takes somebody one step ahead to like say, hey, are you asking the people what they actually want? Are you doing X, Y, and Z? And it was not giving up. And it was running it enough times, running a post, running a masterclass, running a training, whatever it was. I had 100 people on my email list at the time. So it's like, how do you literally just start where you are with what you have
Hmm.
and not give up?
Amen. Start somewhere and don't compare your day one to somebody else's year 5.
Yeah.
That's the most, that's something that will keep you so overwhelmed and stuck. Just start where you're at. Ready never comes. Thank you so much for your story and for reminding us of that, reminding us to just take action, do the thing, follow your whatever your thing is that you're feeling led towards. For you, hiring a mentor before you ever knew that it was going to be critical that you had this business on the side. So leaning into those intuitions, leaning into those calls, and ultimately saying yes and figuring it out like you do. So appreciate you so much. Such a good conversation. If you are listening in this conversation impacted you in any way, we would love to hear from you. We both are just, we love people. So comment below, let us know what your impact and your experience was from this episode. Make sure you hit like and share and follow on any of the platforms that you are listening on. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Before you go, I want to know, what was your epiphany from today's conversation? Let me know in the comments. If this episode made you think of someone, send it their way. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation. Until next time, I love you, I'm rooting for you, and remember, one epiphany can change everything.